Dealing with the condition itself is not enough.
Dear Mr. Massa, I'm just trying to mind my own business. What's the matter? It's just another day, another black king captured. I'm about to lose my brain stuck inside this ghetto rapture. I got a lot of smoke. If you want it, you can have it. They want a hat trick, but this is black girl magic. Ain't talking about the kind that'll make you disappear, but I'm talking about the power of the melanin within. Ain't looking for trouble, but I'ma say this one time. I put two dukes up if you try to touch mine. We still want justice for Samir and Trayvon. You say you don't see color, but racism ain't blind. They targeting little kids whose skin look just like mine. So I'm paranoid, it's a war zone outside. And I'm a black queen, so if you ask me to step out of my car, you gon' have to snatch me. Cause I ain't going no damn well. Had to spend my whole life living unfair. Ancestors got my back and they right here. You can never understand, it's a nightmare. Living in my black shoes by the black rules. You can keep your handshake, I don't dap coons. The white man that go nuts if he can't shoot. But you all on his side like a damn fool. Make it make sense.
We are oppressed.
Queen.
We are exploited. We are downtrodden.
Make it make
Queen.
We are
sense.
denied not only civil rights, but even human rights.
Ahmadiyyah.
So the only way we're going to get some of this
Ahmadiyyah.
oppression and exploitation
Queen.
away from us or aside from us is come together
Queen.
against the common enemy. Who taught you to hate the texture of your
Ahmadiyyah.
hair? Who taught you to hate the color of your skin?
Ahmadiyyah.
Parents, pay attention to the books, the school system, even to your little children. Lies mixed with wisdom. His skin too bright, so he was blind to the prison. My skin just right, so I collide with division. You trying to pray to God, but we tired of religion. No savior saving, we got to save our savings. We used to pay miss, how we gon' make the slave rich? But who's to blame, and tell me why you complaining? We need a team effort just to rule the nation. Like a bad relationship, missing communication. We missing moderation. They're trying to get a poison to my population. No reparations. I'm getting tired of Satan.
We are oppressed.
I'm
Queen.
getting tired of waiting.
We are downtrodden.
Queen.
We are denied not only civil rights, but even human rights.
Ahmadiyyah.
So the only way we're going to get some of this
Ahmadiyyah.
oppression and exploitation.
Queen.
All right. Hello, everyone. Grand Rising. Thanks for tuning back in once again to the original Queen Ahmadiyyah Shakur show. I'm your host, Queen Ahmadiyyah Shakur, and this is your Saturday Vitamins. So as you're coming in, please feel free to go ahead and subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. Be sure to click that notification bell and click the word all so you're notified each time the Queen Goddess goes live. Okay? Shout out to Abolia Faletti, Latasha, Mel, Cookie. All right. Andrea is here. Dark Titan is in the virtual building. Okay, let's get into it. Buckhorse DC, DJ Big Six. All right. Shout out to all of my loyal royals and everyone tuned into the Queen. And a big shout out to my moderators putting in work. I see you, Christopher. Okay, so with that all being said, let's have a brief word from my sponsor before we get into it.
Do not buy 12 Tribes on Earth hair growth oil and hair magic elixir unless you want super healthy, gorgeous hair that grows. They have a whole line of amazing hair growth products, including hair growth leave-in conditioner spray, hair growth shampoo, hair growth spray, and hair growth butter. I'm starting to sense a theme here. They include quality natural ingredients. They smell amazing, and you can see the results for yourself. So if you're looking for healthy hair growth for your natural or relaxed hair, try 12 Tribes on Earth today.
Okay, so don't forget you can purchase 12 Tribes hair oil at Etsy.com. Just look for Lisa Crafts. You can also find it at Walmart.com. And don't forget that she sells beard oil as well. Okay, so let's get into it. We have a lot to cover. There is a whole lot going on, honey. Trump is running scared because now he knows that the truth is likely going to come out. Now, they've been supposedly doing some scrubbing of the files, so we've heard from Epstein's brother. At the end of the day, nothing's going to help them, okay? Nothing is going to help them. The whole thing is going to fall apart. Marjorie Taylor Greene has exited stage left, okay? She's no longer a member of MAGA, all right? She's hung up her heels, and we're going to get into that and talk about her statement that she posted. But before we do, something else came to my attention before I started this live. There was some idiot in Vegas who was in a fit of road rage when he fired into another vehicle and killed an 11-year-old child who the father was taking to school. Now, this is very sad, okay? This is absolutely heartbreaking. Just imagine this man's taking his child to school and now he's going to have to bury his child because this idiot lashed out in a fit of road rage. What is wrong with people? And then we have to talk about this ICE agent also who's been accused of having some inappropriate things going on with a minor, as Kendrick Lamar would say. And then also there are some people pretending to be ICE, going around, some racist demons going around dressed as ICE simply for no other purpose than to, garner a few giggles for themselves as they harass these innocent people. Okay, that's what's going on here. So let's get into it. I'm going to share my screen. Now, some of the things I'm going to talk to you about are posted on my X account. I shared them. So I'm just going to go down the list so I don't have to double back. I'm going to talk about the fireman who was given a noose by a white firefighter. He's now suing. We're going to get into all of it. Everything that's on my timeline on Twitter that I plan to talk about, we're just going to go straight to it. Okay, let's get into it. Now, this is the incident where this idiot shot into this man's car, killing this little boy.
He's dead? Yeah, look. Why? I shot at him, bro. I didn't know. Shot at him? I didn't know I was fucking in the back. And I showed medical. I know you. We were road raging. He came up around the side, like on the merge, you know, where the... What's the one that takes you northbound, eastbound over there?
Now, I want you all to pay attention to how this racist demon in the flesh is sitting here just talking all whimsically like it's nothing, serious going on. It's no big deal. Oh, he was doing this and I was coming around such and such. What's the one where you call it? Carrying on a regular conversation. You just killed this man's child, you devil. 11 years old. He's dead. He was going to sit in a classroom on that day. Now he's sitting there talking to the cop like nothing's happened. No empathy, no remorse, nothing. Now he did admit that he did it, but he really didn't have a choice because that was obvious. Meanwhile, my question is, how come there's seems to be no sense of urgency? Where are the ambulances? Okay, did they even call them yet? This child is probably laying dead in the car.
Where's he going at right now? It's in the car on the passenger side. I gotta figure everything out. Yeah, no, it's 100% happened. I shot at him, dude. Okay. I didn't even know he had a kid in the car. Hey, 3 or 4 people. Not staying in control. There's a kid shot in the back seat. Notify supervisors and stuff.
He notified supervisors and stuff. I don't understand this. Like, I'm really confused here. How come nobody's trying to render aid to this child? The police don't have any sense of, trying to see if he needs CPR, if they need to stop bleeding. I mean, what's going on here? This is like so crazy to me.
Oh my God! I'm so sorry. Do you have the ID? Oh, yeah, okay. Just, I'm going to school. Yeah. Wow. Take a minute when you get a chance. I'll need your ID. I'm so sorry, okay? We'll get this all taken care of. Whose car is this? Do you mind having a seat in your car with him and just chilling? No, okay. Okay. No, he has to stay. He's a witness. Shut your mouth, sir. I understand you're upset. I can't even imagine what this will be. So you're merging here? Okay. He came up on your right, turned up on you? Okay. So when did he shoot? Was he still in his car or did he get out?
Yeah, no. He didn't get out, but boom, it's okay.
So he got out and then shot at you.
Yeah,
Okay.
I shot him like that and get out and me, I shot flashing for stop, you know?
Okay. Okay. Was he on your? So after the crash is when he shot.
No, after no.
He shot and then the crash. Okay.
In the need for stop, because I don't see my kid.
Yeah.
And then it's truck crash, so stop the fucking car.
Okay. Yeah. Okay.
Is there any chance that the kid will be okay?
There's always a chance. I don't know. I've seen after 20 years I've seen kind of everything happen. So I won't say it's not possible. I won't say anything could happen. If you're a praying man, I would be praying a lot for him right now.
First of all, why does the officer have to tell him to pray? Okay, he should have had common sense to do that in the first place at the end of the day. But he was just sitting there like he couldn't give a care. As far as I'm concerned, he didn't even look like he was even worried that he was in serious trouble. Okay, now mind you, they did deem this as a premeditated shooting. So they say Las Vegas police body cam video of a road rage shooting that killed an 11-year-old. 22-year-old Tyler Johns allegedly shot and killed Brandon Dominguez, who was sitting in his father's vehicle on the way to school. My kid is dead, Dominguez's father, Yela Valente, told the officer. Johns admitted to firing the shots and told police, I shot at him. I didn't know there was a effing kid in the back. Y'all hear this? This is what he said. Investigators said the shooting followed a road rage exchange. Johns later repeated his confession, saying, it's 100% my fault. I shot at him. I didn't know he had a kid in the car. Yeah, how would you know that, idiot? That's why you don't shoot at random cars, because somebody cuts you off or somebody gets in front of you or whatever your stupid reason. Now, investigators said the shooting followed a road rage exchange. Johns later repeated his confession. Clark County prosecutors charged Johns with murder and said the shooting was premeditated. A judge denied bail earlier this week. Okay, good. He doesn't need a bail, if you ask me. If you're going around doing random things, acts of violence, just off of a whim, because you're upset, because you don't know how to control your temper, yeah, you don't need to be on the streets, period, as far as I'm concerned. That's where you don't need to be. Okay, devil. Now, with that all being said, let's go to the story about this nefarious ICE agent who's been busted by Bloomington police, honey, in an operation called Operation Creep, where he was trying to solicit sex from a whole minor. Okay, when he was arrested, he had the nerve to say, I'm ICE boys. Not I'm ICE boys, as if he thought he was going to get off. Do y'all hear this? This is all so crazy. Yeah, he thought if he let them know that he was down with ICE, okay, I guess that would have made him down by law, consequently, and he would have just gotten off. Is that how that works? Yeah, it is, sadly, because there are absolutely some police officers who will not arrest certain people who are in their line of work. They also won't arrest firefighters, okay? That's what they won't do. Some of them, they'll say, oh, I'm not going to arrest a fellow brother. That's how that goes. And I know this from firsthand experience because I used to date a firefighter, in fact. And one of his friends was drinking and driving, had an accident by himself. There was no other vehicles involved. But nonetheless, when the police pulled up, they could tell that he was drunk, and they told him, we're not going to arrest a fellow brother. That's what they said when they saw his firefighter ID. So these things happen very often. And so I guess he thought if he told them that he was ICE, he wasn't going to get arrested. But sadly for him, he did. Okay, police in Minnesota carried out a sting targeting an underage sex ring. Officers took more than a dozen men into custody, including one who works for Immigration and Customs Enforcement, known as ICE. Bloomington Police Chief Booker Hodges said he called it Operation Creep. He was all ready for the cameras when giving props to the band. Radiohead for the idea. He said, I'm a creep. I'm a weirdo. That's the song these guys were singing. What the hell am I doing here? He said. Do y'all hear this? They're freaks, creeps, perverts, and proud of it. Where do they make these people? Okay, where do they make these people? This is all crazy. This is all so sad. Now, it goes on to say The efforts led to the arrest of 16 men, one of whom worked as an auditor for ICE. When he was arrested, he said, "I'm ICE, boys." Unfortunately for him, we locked him up, put him in our jail. He got reappropriated to our jail. Okay, let's just go to the footage. Let's just roll the clip. Like some, everyone, please like and share. Now, obviously, nothing about this is funny at all, except for the fact that this idiot thought he could just spew a few words and think he was going to get, just be over with. It's going to be over with because of his comrades.
Operation Creep, and he was ready for the cameras when giving props to the band Radiohead for the idea.
I'm a creep. I'm a weirdo.
Okay, let me fast forward because I don't need any copyright issues.
One of them working as an auditor for U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement.
When he was arrested, he said, "I'm ICE, boys." Well, unfortunately for him, we locked him up, put him in our jail. He got reappropriated to our jail.
Another, a staffer at the Minnesota Pollution Control Agency.
Maybe he'd go to work and figure out how to get that pollution out of his mind, come in here and try to mess with a 17-year-old girl.
Soliciting sex with a minor wasn't the only alleged crime either. Police sharing this drone video of a suspect arriving at a hotel. Inside that bag was coke, meth, and 8 firearms. Another suspect told the decoy he was showing up with a gun. The chief sharing this video of the officers tackling him to the floor. The operation reminiscent of a similar sting several months ago that led to the arrest of ex-state Senator Justin Eichhorn, who's currently facing federal solicitation charges. The chief promising more crackdowns in the future, but the work is getting more difficult.
The tactics that these people are using on these apps continue to change. A lot of these platforms are getting sophisticated.
Okay, so there you have it, honey. Somebody working for ICE. Now, see, here's the thing. Remember when I told you all a few weeks ago? If you remember, I told you all a few weeks ago that some of these people, are going around here. These ICE agents have been alleged to have been going around assaulting people. Do you all remember me telling you that? And then when it was brought to the administration's attention, they simply said that it was people pretending to be ICE. Now, we've never gotten any confirmation on that, but I will say this. Today, there is confirmation that there are some racist demons going around pretending to be ICE just so they can harass people for kicks and giggles. Okay, this man posted the video, and he obviously knows these people because he was calling them by name. He was calling them by name. So I'm going to go to the footage. Here we go. And hopefully they get arrested.
So you're telling me that there's consequence for pretending to be ICE agents, running around, stalking and preying on immigrants. That's crazy. Oh, so you guys haven't seen the video? Let me show you.
You was running at people earlier, so that's fine.
No, Dad, I heard people running.
No, you was running at people. We were chasing people earlier.
We've been chasing.
You're like, yeah, we're on break right now.
You're on break?
Yeah, you want to put these handcuffs on?
No, not really.
That wasn't a question.
Wait, is it legal to impersonate?
Technically?
Technically?
I think it's if you try to actually arrest people. Because people can be cops. It's a citizen's arrest.
Well, to answer your question, Cody Allen, it is again.
Oh, I just realized that. See, I haven't watched this entire video. Maybe he doesn't know them. He went and dug up his social media. or that was likely posted to his social media. But here's the thing. These people are so ignorant. They're sitting there saying, I think technically, when asked if it's illegal to impersonate ICE officers, technically, probably if you try to like arrest somebody, no, fool. Even if you're not trying to arrest somebody, you can't go around impersonating a federal officer. You can't even go around impersonating a regular police officer, let alone a whole Fed. How stupid are these hillbillies? Y'all do know they're hillbillies, right? I mean, it's obvious, right?
It's the law to impersonate a federal agent. 18 U.S. Code 912, impersonating a federal officer, up to 3 years in federal prison, federal felony record, and heavy fines. Now, Cody Allen, apparently your mother and father haven't taught you well. That's what a stink steps in, to help them with their parenting, telling you this isn't okay. This is not funny. Hardworking immigrants that came over to this country with absolutely nothing. You're running around and harassing them, terrifying them for a laugh. I wonder who you voted for. I wonder who your parents voted for. And by the way, Cody, who's your friend? Because your friend was smart enough not to put this on his social media. But I'm pretty sure a lot of people would like to know, who is he? This picture is worth 1,000 words. You two pretending to be ICE agents, posing with police officers. What's going on here? What is happening? Do the police officers know that you guys are running around pretending to be ICE agents, actually terrifying and scaring immigrants?
How much you want to bet that those police officers in the picture absolutely know that they're not real ICE agents? Because the police don't even really get along with ICE agents. On my timeline on X, there's another video of the police actually pressing some ICE agents. So the police don't really care for them. Okay, so they're at odds 9 times out of 10. So clearly, the police smiling in that picture, like they're so thrilled, they're clearly in on the joke. You can tell they're not just smiling like taking a picture regularly smiling. They have the looks on their faces of laughter, smiles that come along with laughter. They absolutely know. And these devils, it's obvious the police know, because for one, if you're doing something illegal like this, why would you dare to even approach a police officer, let alone be bold enough to take a picture with them, not knowing if they're going to even ask you, what, how long you've worked for ICE? Where's your identification? Can I see your badge? You wouldn't know any of those things. So at the end of the day, the police absolutely know, as far as I'm concerned. I believe they absolutely knew. Look at them all skinning and grinning too.
I'm curious if your police department actually knows what the two of you are doing. Oh, as karma thickens. We like karma. We like when those get what they put out. Let me introduce you now to Sean Allen, father to Cody. Sean, can I ask you a question, sir? Do you know what your son is doing? Do you know he's dressing up like an ICE agent, impersonating federal officers when that is against the law? Do you know that your son can face up to 3 years in prison? Do you, Sean? My guess is you do. That's right, because you're friends. You're friends on his social media. So of course you've seen the pictures. Sean, what have you done about it? Absolutely nothing. And that's why I'm here. Let me introduce myself. I'm Stink. And my face is not always the best to see. Sean, do the Stinker a favor. Sit your son down and talk to him man to man and explain to him what he did isn't cool. Not only not cool, but against the law. So as a father, you should be steering your son in the right direction of humanity, Think about it, Sean. So, Cody, I hope you do the right thing. I hope you come out and apologize to the Latino community of where you live when you were running around as a fake ICE agent, terrifying them, scaring them. I hope you apologize publicly. Tell me what you guys think in the comments. And if you guys haven't thrown me a follow yet, please do.
Now that's a darn shame. Okay. And they felt, perfectly fine doing that. They didn't see anything wrong with their actions or behavior because they know they're likely not going to face any consequences because they're probably good friends with the police in their town, wherever that is. Okay. That's why they were taking pictures and all of that. It must be something nice to have something called white privilege at the end of the day where you can just go around and be blatantly racist and harass people without giving so much as a darn. But let's continue because I now want to talk about this black man who is a firefighter, and he was given a noose by one of his co-workers, and now he is suing them. Okay, let's go to the footage. Likes up, everyone, please like and share. Thank you in advance.
Caught on video, a noose controversy. You can clearly see this white firefighter tying a rope into a noose and handing it to a black firefighter.
It shows him actually tying it, looking at it, admiring his work, making sure it tightens and everything like that, swinging it around. And then when I finally walked back into the firehouse, he tosses it to me. I remember catching it and looking at it and being in disbelief. I asked him, I was like, yo, what's this? And he said, oh, I want you to figure out what kind of knot this is. And I told him, I said, I know exactly what kind of knot it is. This is what people used to hang my ancestors from trees. I said, do you think this is funny?
That black firefighter, by the way, has now filed a $25 million lawsuit for a hostile workplace and racial discrimination. Caught on video, a noose controversy.
Okay, so now isn't that a darn shame? 2025, and this is what people are doing. I want you all to pay attention. Okay, no shame in their game, clearly. Now this man's filed a lawsuit, and I hope he wins every dime. Okay, every single dime. Let's talk about it. New Jersey firefighter files $25 million federal civil rights suit over noose incidents. Now, a Bloomfield firefighter has filed a suit in federal court alleging racial discrimination in a hostile work environment stemming from two separate incidents. So he didn't do it once, he did it twice, being blatantly racist and disrespectful. Now, in which a co-worker displayed and threw a noose at him during department training sessions. The complaint was filed November the 16th of 2025. This story, when I first started reading it, I thought that it was a story that I actually covered a few years ago. Because you all don't remember that I actually did a story that sounds almost the same, where something like this happened at a fire department. So anyway, he filed the complaint November the 16th, 2025 in the U.S. District Court of the District of New Jersey by firefighter Patrick Thomas against the township of Bloomfield, the Bloomfield Fire Department, the fire chief, firefighter Walter Coffey, and several John Doe defendants. That's right, sue them all. The allegations are quoted here at length. It says Coffey has been employed by Bloomfield through the BFD as a firefighter since about the year 2000. During his tenure with the BFD, upon information and belief, Coffey has on numerous occasions used the derogatory term, the N-word, basically, in the presence of African-American members of the BFD to harass, intimidate, and as a means of informing minorities of their status as inferior within the institution. And I want you all to think about something because, we know that the police engage in racism, some of them, and they mistreat Black people and immigrants and other minority groups or what have you. But at the end of the day, we would usually think that firefighters would not, behave in that manner. But I saw a video some time ago where a Black man was saying claiming that he was speaking to an elderly white man who was about in his 80s. This man told him that he used to be a firefighter back in the 60s, 70s, somewhere around those times, and told him about how many times he had sat there and allowed Black people and Black children specifically to die in fires. Simply went in, he was supposed to go in there to save them, but instead he just came out and said he couldn't find them, that he couldn't get to them, made a myriad of excuses. And do you all think that he was the only one who did that? Now, I'm sorry, but in the realms of my wildest imaginations, I would never have come up with such a thing. I would never have thought such a thing. It would never even have entered my mind. And you may be asking yourself, Queen Ahmadiyyah Shakur, how could that not ever have entered your mind when we know the history of nefariousness that has gone on against our people in this nefarious country? We know about babies being used as alligator baits. We know about pregnant women being hung upside down from trees, stomachs cut open, babies knocked out. We know all of this, so how could you not fathom it? Well, I just didn't. It's just something that I never concocted within my own mind, something that I never imagined, okay? Something that I had never imagined. I actually sat here on this live about 5 years ago and told you all that the real heroes are firefighters, not police. They're always saying the police are the heroes, but police do too many nefarious things, engage in too many corruptive practices, in my opinion, and often, too very often, shoot Black folk who are unarmed and not even posing an imminent threat. And I said, firefighters are the real heroes, but are they? Now that I have heard this story, and I have to ask myself, how many times has this happened? And does it still happen? And how often? And how many lives have been lost? That's what you all should be asking yourselves. This is all so sad. At the end of the day, we are the world's most hated. But let me continue, because we already know that. So anyway, it goes on to say, Coffee's use of plaintiff's name. I'm sorry, I skipped over something. Hold on, let me go back. Okay, on or about November the 8th of 2023, during a departmental training focused on rope and knot techniques used in firefighting, Coffee spontaneously approached plaintiff and stated, "Thomas, there is a noose upstairs on the table. Did you see it?" Okay. Did you see it? Plaintiff replied by asking, "Why would I want to see a noose?" and inquired if Coffee knew he was responsible for putting it on display. Coffee smirked and replied that he did not know. Coffee's use of plaintiff's name reflects a level of familiarity with him from their working relationship and intention to specifically target him based on his racial identity as an African American. Now, said discriminatory act took place in the presence of numerous members of BFD, okay, and that's the Bloomfield Fire Department, including those with supervisory authority over plaintiff, in addition to an independent instructor. So there were fire chiefs, lieutenants, and bosses there who said and did nothing, okay? Nonetheless, so this seems like it was probably a culture within the department. Now, nonetheless, there was no investigation, questioning, sanction, or other repercussions against Coffee for his actions in accord with custom of Bloomfield and the BFD to allow racial bias in the workplace. Such inaction on the part of BFD and Bloomfield, in light of the fact that they knew or should have known about Coffee's discriminatory behavior, is tantamount to a tacit endorsement of his actions. Yeah, exactly. They're agreeing with it. They're complicit. Because remember, silence is complacency. Now, on November the 16th of 2023, a subsequent knot training session was held where plaintiff, Coffee, supervisory officials, and several other firefighters were present. The session was conducted inside of a firehouse owned and operated by Bloomfield, which was equipped with CCTV cameras. Now, as the training was concluding, Coffee tied a hangman's noose and threw it toward plaintiff while laughing, stating, "I want you to figure out what kind of knot that this is." Plaintiff replied, "I know exactly what kind of knot it is. Okay, what this is. This is a noose. This is what my people, or what people use to hang my ancestors from trees. You think this is funny?" Coffee's only response was to continue laughing. This occurred in the presence of other firefighters, including those serving in a supervisory role, and the independent course instructor. Now, plaintiff's initial shock from the boldness of Coffee's actions were followed by rage, distress, and humiliation at the public display of racism while trying to exercise the official duties of his employment. Let me tell you all something. You see, here is the thing about people who behave like this. They are never shy. They never shy away from doing this their nefarious actions in the presence of others. You see who look like them or don't. They don't care, because if you don't look like them, it's your word against theirs. And they think that they're superior to you, so nobody's really going to care about your feelings. And then as far as the other people who look like them that witness these things, they feel like those people aren't going to say anything. They're on my side. These are my people, and they're equally as racist 9 times out of 10, especially if they don't say anything. You see, because someone who looks like him who wasn't racist would definitely have said something. They would have spoken up and said, wait a minute, don't do that. You think that's funny? There's nothing funny about that. Okay, why are you being racist? They would have said something to show some type of alliance with the black man, but they didn't, because their alliance was to the racists, because they're likely all racist. I mean, that's how I would feel. I mean, they can argue and say they're not racist, but are they? How does it look? Because remember, perception is reality. So even if you're not a racist and you stand there and do or say nothing when things like this happen, then you're perceived as racist, whether you are or not. So if you don't want to be perceived as racist and you in fact are not racist, then maybe you should speak up when you witness such things. Okay, otherwise just go down with the ship. So with that all being said, while not explicitly stated in the complaint, it appears that Thomas went out on stress leave after the November 16th, 2023 news incident. Bloomfield began an internal investigation, but suspended it after the Essex County Prosecutor's Office took over the matter. Coffey was criminally charged on December the 14th of 2023. Well, good. Okay, with 4th-degree bias intimidation under, they list the statute, an Essex County grand jury indicted him on April the 1st of 2024, and he was later admitted into the pretrial intervention program. Okay, great. This is the same story that I talked about. I knew it couldn't be like so many similar circumstances. This is the exact same story because it initially occurred in November of 2023. And so also, I do remember the man getting indicted. And then he got pre-trial intervention, so no consequences. Okay, that's nothing but a slap on the wrist. And that's what they usually get when they do something racist in the workplace against a black person. If you all remember the black guy who went out into the woods with his white friends to watch the full moon rise or something like that, and he was accosted by some other racist people, and they were just abusing him and assaulting him and all of that stuff. Remember how the police suggested, or the court suggested, that he be complicit in them simply giving the man pretrial intervention, so so the people, not the man, but the people collectively who were involved, they wanted to give them a pretrial intervention program so they didn't get any jail time. And the black man refused, as I would have too if I were him. I mean, they were pulling his hair out of his head and everything. So by the fact that he refused, the police harassed him afterwards, and they ended up arresting him on some trumped up charge. See, this is what these devils do. A lot of times they're all complicit in the nefarious actions, so nothing will be done. And in fact, you may be harassed for even trying to pursue some type of consequences for them. So anyway, with that all being said, Thomas alleges that despite the criminal charges, Coffey remains employed by the Bloomfield Fire Department, and that the municipality's internal investigation has not been completed nearly 2 years later. Okay, they're not going to do anything. That's what it's all about. The suit also details Thompson's claims of emotional and psychological injury following the incidents. He alleges that the department required him to use his sick time while disputing his workers' compensation claim. And according to the complaint, multiple clinicians, both independent and those selected by the township, diagnosed Thomas with psychological injuries related to the incident. And recent evaluation concluded he was unlikely to be restored to duty in a reasonable period of time. So Thomas brings multiple causes of action, including federal civil rights claims under 42 U.S.C. Statute 1983, violations of the New Jersey Civil Rights Act, racial discrimination and hostile work environment under the New Jersey law against discrimination, and common law emotional distress claims. He seeks $25 million in compensatory damages, punitive damages, and attorney's fees. The complaint also includes a section discussing the historical significance of nooses in the context of racial violence and lynchings in the United States, explaining why the symbol carries profound and immediate meaning to African Americans. And as you can see, here is a copy of the formal complaint. Okay. So, hopefully he gets the money from his lawsuit. I hope that he does, because this is absolutely egregious. And the fact that all of them were complicit and they're trying to make sure that the man gets no consequences for his nefarious actions, yeah, that's real problematic. Okay, now fast forward. You all remember the story that I told you all about the pregnant woman and the nurse who left her, just took her own sweet time. I took about 30 plus minutes to register her and all of that. Well, guess what? There's another incident. Did y'all know that? There's another incident of a pregnant woman, a Black pregnant woman. This case is even worse because in this case, the woman was forced to leave the hospital. They told her to leave the hospital, kicked her out, told her to leave and come back. Okay, and she ended up having her baby on the side of the road. Okay, have y'all heard about that? She was in active labor. Hold on. Let's go to the footage. Likes up, everyone, please like and share. Thank you in advance. Let's go to. I can't believe I'm reporting on this twice in 2 weeks. 2 different scenarios.
My daughter's in active labor, and this is a Franciscan Crown Point being put out in active labor. So we got to transfer her to a different hospital while she's in labor, in pain. Unjust.
Okay. You want me to put the car?
Okay, so you all saw that. Now, y'all have to know that's absolutely egregious. Okay, that is absolutely deplorable. How does something like that happen and who does that? Okay, who does something like that? That's absolutely crazy, right? Absolutely crazy. So she actually did an interview. So let's go to that, please. Let's go to that because I find it's absolutely just egregious. Likes up, everyone, please like and share. Thank you in advance. Here we go.
First of all, no mother should suffer at one of the most important moments of her life, when her baby is born. I think that's why this story resonated with so many people this week. In a moment, you're going to hear the story directly from Mercedes Wells herself. She showed up at a hospital in Indiana expecting to get some help to deliver her baby. But after several hours, she was escorted out of the hospital. Her family recorded as she was leaving.
Okay. You want me to put the car?
You all, let me just say, I wouldn't have shown this video twice. I showed the video and then I saw this report right after I closed out the video. So I wouldn't have even bothered to show the video so we don't have to watch it twice. I'm going to actually fast forward.
This is the Wonder Oven Pro.
The hospital says they're now taking action. In a new statement from Franciscan Health Crown Point President and CEO Raymond Grady, he announced that first, the physician and nurse involved in Mercedes' care are no longer employed by the hospital. He also said cultural competency training has now been mandated for all labor and delivery staff, and all pregnant patients leaving the labor and delivery unit will be examined by a physician before they leave the hospital. Grady called the videos difficult to watch, and he wrote, "We must fix what failed in our hospital so that no one experiences what happened to Mercedes Wells." Mercedes Wells is with us now, along with her husband, Leon Wells, and their attorney, Cannon Lambert. Welcome to you all. Mercedes, let me start with your reaction to the announcement from the hospital that the doctor and nurse directly involved with your care are out.
First of all, it took a while, to get them to respond to us and to acknowledge what the facility had done to me.
And when they say that the doctor involved in your care is out, I read that you don't even know who this doctor is. You never met a doctor.
Exactly. Never seen her face. No doctor ever spoke to or came into my room.
So let's start at the beginning here. It's about midnight. Your contractions start. Tell me the story as you arrive at the hospital.
As I get to the hospital, they come down about 10 minutes later. First of all, I called ahead. I called maybe 20 minutes ahead before we got there. And when we got there, I still had to go through the questioning of, who my doctor was and all the details. When they came and got me, I was already 15 minutes apart in my contractions. So I was already in active labor. She checked me. She told me that I was 3 centimeters dilated. My contractions began to get closer and closer as the day went on. She checked me again, and she said she felt the baby's head, but I was still 3 centimeters after 6 hours of labor. Then she told me I had to be relieved from the hospital.
And so when they told you had to be released from the hospital, talk to me about the moment of conflict where you knew, because this is not your first child, this baby is coming. And they said, no, you have to leave. Talk to me about that conversation.
Yes, the nurse told me that I had to be discharged because I wasn't further along in my centimeters. And even though she could feel the baby head, I wasn't dilated more than 3 centimeters, but I know for a fact that had to be untrue because I couldn't feel her hand at that point when she checked me.
And Leon, you're there. You know that your wife is about to have this baby, and they say you've got to go. What's going through your mind?
When they said we had to go, I didn't want to be there. Like, I know we wasn't wanted. I was concerned about the safety of my wife and my child as they're saying that, even though I know my wife was in active labor. So I immediately, got myself together. I was very upset. But by God's grace, I was able to, keep a calm head and try to get my wife to the next location.
Okay, so let me tell you all something. Here's the thing. She said that she was 3 centimeters. With my second son, I was 3 centimeters too, and they sent me home as well. Now, here's the difference though. They may send you home if you're only 3 centimeters because they usually admit you when you're like 4 to 6 centimeters dilated. If you're 3 centimeters, that could take hours. So sometimes they will send you home. It could take hours or even longer without some sort of rapid change. But the thing is, here's the question I have. Did they do an examination of her before they sent her home? Because you would only send somebody home if they're 3 centimeters dilated if the contractions aren't regular or strong. She says that hers were regular and they were obviously strong because she had that baby like 8 minutes later. You would send them home if the cervix isn't changing quickly enough, if the water has not broken, if the baby is showing no signs of distress, if you're comfortable enough to labor at home for a bit longer just to be in pain. All of those are reasons they would likely send you home, but I don't think any of those reasons existed here because, like I said, her contractions were obviously strong and regular. Okay, the cervix had to have been changing because she had the baby 8 minutes later, and her water broke. It may not have been broken while she was there, but it broke shortly thereafter. And then how do they know the baby was having no signs of distress? Because did they give her an examination to determine that or not? I don't think that they did, because if they had done so, and here's the thing. Well, now that I think about it, they did do that because they said that the nurse could feel the baby's head, but still sent her home. Now, I wouldn't think that you would send someone home if you could feel the baby's head. Okay, I don't. That makes no sense to me. But let's keep listening. The baby's head. If you can literally feel the baby's head, then you know that that baby is coming in minutes, not hours. Okay, I'm sorry. That doesn't make sense to me. I'm not a gynecologist, but at the end of the day, that's just what I would think, having common sense.
No.
Well, the baby came before you got to that next location. Tell me about that, Leon.
That was a very stressful moment. I don't have any prior doctor experience. I no training. We in my truck, and it was just a very scary moment. I mean, I literally we was driving down the road and I saw my wife. My wife is, pulling her pants down. She's like, "Babe, I gotta push. And as she's pulling her pants down, I see my child's head, and I was kind of freaking out at the moment, but I kind of gathered myself. And when I gathered myself, I literally kind of, I don't know, I just thought I needed to help. Like, I literally kind of helped and put my fingers between my child's head, and I pulled as she pushed, and my baby came out.
Hmm.
And
so, Mercedes, how is the baby?
She's doing well now.
Okay, well, that's good to hear. Cannon, let me bring you in here. You are their attorney. You and the Wellses have called for action and accountability. I said at the top of the show that the nurse and the doctor are out. Does that separation, because we don't know if they resigned or if they were fired, they didn't clarify there. Does that satisfy that for you?
I swear to God, if this stuff doesn't fix your pipe problem in under 15 minutes, I'll pay you 20 grand. And I'm telling you this because
so I think it's important that we speak with clarity. It would be a good thing that they let us know that they have been fired, terminated. It would be a good thing that they let us know that the individuals who inserted themselves as employees in this situation get terminated also. They have a cultural problem. And what it is, the only thing they can do in terms of addressing that is to stamp out those people who participated in this, watched this happen, and did nothing. We're looking to meet with them, and we're glad that they finally reached out to us. We're looking forward to that meeting. We want to understand when they say they failed in various ways, we want them to tell us how they failed, because I want to mesh that with what we believe they failed to do and make sure that we're on the same page so that the policies can be changed so that this doesn't happen anymore.
The policies change. Should I expect, or do you expect, there will be a lawsuit filed?
I think they have control over that. If they do what's right, then I know this family will be happy to see that they've done.
They need to sue. Of course they're going to sue. I would imagine that's why they have a lawyer. They should definitely sue. Okay, after something so horrendous. Okay? After something so horrendous has happened. Now, with that all being said, the hospital Hold on, let me read this statement here. I'm going to go to this statement. And then we're moving on because we got to talk about Marjorie Taylor Greene, okay? And the nefariousness of it all with Trump. Okay, immediate review and formal notice of patient safety violation. Laboring patient removed from facility at Franciscan Health Crown Point. Dear Franciscan Health Crown Point Administration, Patient Safety Office, and Corporate Compliance, I am writing on behalf of the American Freedom Legal Fund, a national advocacy body that provides civil rights and patient safety oversight for verified and unverified freedmen across the United States. We're formally requesting an immediate investigation into a deeply alarming incident involving a Black expectant mother in active labor who was removed from your facility and forced to deliver her baby outside of hospital care. Based on video documentation circulating publicly and a voice recording from the family, the mother was in active labor and seeking medical care at Franciscan Health Crown Point. Staff at your facility removed her from the building instead of providing standard triage and monitoring. Yeah, they should have monitored her. They should have hooked her up to a thing that monitors the rate of your contractions and how far they are apart and all of that. Her partner was forced to deliver the baby himself on the side of the road without medical supervision, sterile environment, or emergency support. This incident has now gained national attention and is being interpreted as a case of racial bias, medical neglect, and a violation of standard labor and delivery protocol. The public video shows the newborn being delivered under conditions no family should ever face, particularly after being turned away from a hospital. Okay, absolutely egregious. This situation may constitute emergency medical treatment and labor act, okay, violations, gross negligence by hospital staff, racial discrimination in medical triage or decision making, and failure to provide immediate stabilizing care. Okay? So for all of the people who think there's no racism in this country, what say you? Okay, when you have these incidents happening back to back, okay, and these are just the ones that I've reported on. I'm sure there's many more. Okay, I'm sure there's many more. This is all so nefarious at the end of the day. They just do Black people all sorts of ways and get away with it very often. Okay, I want you all to pay attention. With that all being said, it is what it is. And I will say this, I did double check just to be sure. And what I found is that, quite frankly, even if you can feel the baby's head, they can still send you home sometimes. Okay, they can still send you home sometimes, even if they can feel the baby's head. It just depends on the other circumstances, the other things that are going on, the things that I read to you from the list. With that being said, she should absolutely, in my opinion, she should absolutely, and this isn't a medical opinion, mind you, but at the end of the day, in my opinion, she should have been sent home. Okay, at the end, how did she have that baby 8 minutes later if she should have been sent home? That's proof that she should not have been sent home. When they sent me home when I was only dilated 3 centimeters, I had my son hours later. Like, I went to sleep, woke up the next morning, still having the same amount of pain and discomfort, or maybe it was a little bit worse. It was actually a little bit worse. And then as the day progressed, probably around 3 o'clock that evening or that afternoon, yeah, that's when I went to the hospital. But all of that time, I was able to be at home where I was more comfortable, okay, and fix me something to eat and all of that. But in this case right here, no, that lady should not have been sent home. They should have done their due diligence, made sure that she was not going to have that baby anytime soon. And that's what they didn't do. Okay, so anyway, let's talk about Marjorie Taylor Greene has left the building. Marjorie Taylor Greene has left the building, guys. Oh, so nefarious. Let's get into it. Let's get into it because, and also she issued a statement letter, and then Trump decided to troll her, okay, after she resigned. He has nothing better to do with his idiotic self. Okay, Representative Thomas Massey on Friday expressed disappointment over Representative Marjorie Taylor Greene's decision to resign from Congress early next year amid her growing feud with President Trump. I'm very sad for our country, but so happy for my friend Marjorie. This is what Massey posted on social media. I'll miss her tremendously. She embodies what a true representative should be. Everyone should read her statement. There is more honesty expressed in these 4 pages than most politicians will speak in a lifetime. Trump responded to the announcement with celebration, honey. He was thrilled about it, okay? Telling ABC News that her looming resignation is great news to ABC. But Massey, a frequent critic of the president, refuted the claim, saying Greene's decision to step aside is not great news for our country. Now, the Georgia Republican announced plans to resign on Friday as her rift with Trump widened last week over her fervent support of the release of the Epstein files related to the late convicted offender. Now, the president later signed a bill to compel his Justice Department to disclose the Epstein documents after it quickly advanced through Congress, marking a reversal of his previous stance. So still in recent days, he has blasted Greene as a traitor and claimed that she lost her way as the once close duo have traded barbs in recent weeks over a number of issues, from the Epstein files to rising health care premium costs to the Trump administration's foreign affairs agenda. And then Greene and 3 other Republicans, including Massey, sided with the Democrats in an effort to force the House to vote on the legislation to force the release of the Epstein files, though many lawmakers are skeptical that the disclosure will be swift. Trump withdrew his support and endorsement of Greene last week, claiming she betrayed the entire Republican Party when she left, performed poorly on The Pathetic View, and became the rhino that we all knew she always was. And rhino, for those of you who missed it, means Republican in name only. Now, in a lengthy statement, she announced her plans to leave Congress. She accused the president of trying to destroy her and calling his previous comments about her hurtful. Okay, so let's get into it. I'm going to go to her statement. Likes up, everyone, please like and share. Honey, let me tell you something. The last thing I would do is let Trump run me out of Congress, okay? And let Trump run me out of anywhere. Okay, that's what I wouldn't do. Please pay attention. But here's what she had to say. I've always represented the common American man and woman as a member of the House of Representatives, which is why I've always been despised in Washington, D.C. and never fit in. Americans are supposed to be used by the political industrial complex of both political parties, election cycle after election cycle, in order to elect whichever side can convince Americans to hate the other side more. And the results are always the same. No matter which way the political pendulum swings, Republican or Democrat, nothing ever gets better for the common American man or woman. The debt goes higher. Corporate and global interests remain Washington's sweethearts. American jobs continue to be replaced, whether it's by illegal labor or legal labor, by visas or just jobs shipped overseas. Small businesses continue to be swallowed by big corporations. Americans' hard-earned tax dollars always fund foreign wars, foreign aid, and foreign interest. The spending power of the dollar continues to decline. The average American family can no longer survive on a single breadwinner's income, as both parents must work in order to simply survive. And today, many in my children's generation feel hopeless for their future and don't think they will ever realize the American dream, which breaks my heart. I ran for Congress in 2020 and have fought every single day, believing that Make America Great Again meant America first. I have one of the most conservative voting records in Congress, defending the First Amendment, Second Amendment, and unborn babies, because I believe God creates life at conception. Strong, safe borders. I fought against COVID tyrannical insanity and mandated mass vaccinations, and I've never voted to fund foreign wars. However, with almost 1 year into our majority, the legislature has been mostly sidelined. We endured an 8-week shutdown, wrongly resulting in the House not working for the entire time, and we're entering campaign season, which means all courage leaves, and only safe campaign re-election mode is turned on. During the longest shutdown in our nation's history, I raged against my own speaker and my own party for refusing to proactively work diligently to pass a plan to save American healthcare and protect Americans from outrageous, overpriced, and unaffordable health insurance policies. The House should have been in session working every day to fix this disaster, but instead, America was force-fed disgusting political drama once again, from both sides of the aisle. My bills reflect many of President Trump's executive orders, like calling for a new census, counting Americans only to draw new districts, making English the official language of the U.S., making it a felony to medically trans a minor, and other bills like eliminating capital gains taxes on the sales of your home and eliminating H-1B visas just sit collecting dust. That's how it is for most members of Congress's bills. The Speaker never brings them to the floor for a vote. Many common Americans are no longer easily convinced by paid political propaganda spokespersons and consultants on TV and paid shills on social media, obediently serving with cult-like conviction to force others to swallow the political party's talking points. It's amazing that she's saying all of this because, to me, in my opinion, she's always done every single one of these things that she's now showing disdain for. Okay, she's always gone along with the flow of the program and the agenda. So because they know how much credit card debt they have, they know how much their own bills have gone up over the past 5 years. They actually do their own grocery shopping, and no food costs too much. Their rent has increasingly gone up. They have been outbid by corporate asset managers too many times when they put in an offer to buy a house. They have been laid off after being forced to train their visa holding replacement. The college degree they were told to earn only left them in debt with no big six-figure salary. They see more homeless people than ever on their own community streets. They can't afford health insurance or practically any insurance, and they just aren't stupid. These are the people I represent and love because that is who all of my family and friends are, common Americans. Now, I want you all to pay attention because in some of this, she was clearly throwing shade at Donald Trump when she said things like they know how much their own bills have gone up over the 5 years because they actually do their own grocery shopping and no food costs too much. Their rent has increasingly gone up because she knows that most people rent, they're not homeowners. Donald Trump doesn't have any idea about these things because he doesn't have to do these things for himself. He has someone to go out and do the grocery shopping. You're never going to see him in the grocery store. You're never going to see him and Melania pushing a cart because they have people to do that for them. So she's basically saying Trump's out of touch with reality and out of touch with the average American person. But I find it interesting that she's saying this because for years, she too has seemed to be out of touch. Okay, because of the policies and things that she agreed to and voted for were all things that Trump was pushing. So don't try to talk down on him now because you and him were always the same and on one accord until he pissed you off and didn't want to endorse you. Okay, but let me continue. Anyway, goes on to say, I have been blessed to represent the 14th District of Georgia for 5 years, which is filled with some of the most wonderful, kind-hearted, God-fearing, patriotic, hard-working people you will ever meet. Good, regular, common Americans. She means racist. She means racist. When you start talking about God-fearing, patriotic, first of all, these people don't fear God. And if they do, what God are they talking about? Because it's clearly not the one that I serve. Okay, it's not the one that sits high and looks low. It's not the one who is the father of the Savior named Jesus. Okay, that's not the one they're serving, in my opinion. Because when Trump goes around talking about he's a Christian and does all the nefarious things that he does, tries to cover up PDF files and all of these things, sits there and lies and does a whole bunch of shenanigans, and there's people that are going along with it. And they all spew these racist, divisive talking points. Okay? They racially profile people, stereotype people, want to let people starve because they feel like these people are less than them. Yeah, what's godly about that? What God are they serving? Okay, I have questions for the Christian nationalist. What God are you serving? Is it the same one that the rest of us serve? I just really have so many questions. I would like answers to them. Now, with that all being said, let me continue. She goes on to say, I've worked hard to bring taxpayer dollars back home to help district needs. I impeached Biden's Secretary of Homeland after watching my constituents die as he facilitated the dangerous open border invasion into America and led the effort to defund hard left politically biased NPR, PBS, and the corrupt USAID, the USAID, as the chair of the DOJ subcommittee. I have fought harder than almost any other elected Republican to elect Donald Trump and Republicans to power. Exactly. And that's why I'm not buying what you're selling right now. Okay. Annie, get your guns. That's what I like to call her. All right. Traveling the country for years, spending millions of my own money, missing precious time with my family that I can never get back, and showing up in places like outside the New York courthouse in Collect Pond Park against a raging leftist mob as Trump faced Democrat lawfare. Meanwhile, most of the establishment Republicans who secretly hate him and who stabbed him in the back and never defended him against anything have all been welcomed in after election. And so I will never forget the day that I had to leave my mother's side as my father had brain surgery to remove cancerous tumors in order to fly to Washington, D.C. to defend President Trump and vote no against the Democrats' second impeachment in 2021. My poor father and my poor mother. It was way too much. Well, honey, you're the damn fool, because I will be darned if I would have left my dying sick father's side, my mother who was grief-stricken and clearly stressed, and rightfully so, to go and defend someone as nefarious, low down, and dirty, and such a devil as Donald J. Trump. Talking about it was way too much. Honey, you did way too much. Now, through it all, I never changed or went back on my campaign promises, and I only disagreed in a few areas, like my stance against H-1Bs replacing American jobs, AI state moratoriums, debt for life, 50-year mortgage scams, standing strongly against all involvement in foreign wars, and demanding the release of the Epstein files. Other than that, my voting record has been solidly with my party and the president. Loyalty should be a two-way street, and we should be able to vote our conscience and represent our district's interests because our job title is literally representative. America first should mean America first and only Americans first, with no other foreign country ever being attached to America first in our halls of government. Standing up for American women who were raped at 14, trafficked, and used by rich, powerful men should not result in me being called a traitor and threatened by the President of the United States, whom I fought for. However, while yes, hurtful, my heart remains filled with joy. My life is filled with happiness, and my true convictions remain unchanged because my self-worth is not defined by a man, but instead by God who created everything in existence. You see, I have never valued power, titles, or attention in spite of all the wrong assumptions about me. I do not cling to those things because they are meaningless and empty traps that hold too many people in Washington. I believe in term limits and do not think Congress should be a lifelong career or an assisted living facility. My only goal and desire has ever been to hold the Republican Party accountable for the promises it makes to the American people and put America first. And I have fought against Democrats' damaging policies like the Green New Deal, wide open, deadly, unsafe border policies, and the trans agenda on children and against women. What that has brought years of nonstop, ever-ending personal attacks, death threats, lawfare, ridiculous slander, and lies about me that most people could never withstand even for a day. It has been unfair and wrong, not only to me and especially my family, but to my district as well. I have too much self-respect and dignity, love my family way too much, and do not want my sweet district to have to endure a hurtful and hateful primary against me by the president we all fought for, only to fight and win my election while Republicans will likely lose the midterms, and in turn be expected to defend the president against impeachment after he hatefully dumped tens of millions of dollars against me and tried to destroy me. It's also absurd and completely unserious. I refuse to be a battered wife, hoping it all goes away and gets better. If I am cast aside by MAGA Inc. and replaced by neocons, big pharma, big tech, military, industrial war complex, foreign leaders, and the elite donor class that can't even relate to real Americans, then many common Americans have been cast aside and replaced as well. There is no plan to save the world or insane 4D chess game being played. When the common American people finally realize and understand that the political industrial complex of both parties is ripping this country apart, that not one elected leader like me is able to stop Washington's machine from gradually destroying our country, and instead the reality is that they, common Americans, the people, possess the real power over Washington, then I'll be here by their side to rebuild it. Until then, I'm going back to the people I love, to live life to the fullest as I always have, and look forward to a new path ahead. I will be resigning from office with my last day being January the 5th of 2026. Well, bye. Go on, honey. Okay, go on. Goodbye. All right, see you and wouldn't want to be, honey. I'm not going to miss her. Okay, the only thing I miss about Marjorie Taylor Greene is Jasmine Crockett going in on her, calling her bad, blonde, bad body, built butch, bitch. That's it. And that's all. Anywho, after all of that was said and done, Trump entered the chat. Okay, and here's what he had to say. President Trump renewed his attacks on Representative Marjorie Taylor Greene. He said Marjorie Taylor Brown, because of plummeting poll numbers and not wanting to face a primary challenger with a strong Trump endorsement where she would have no chance of winning, has decided to call it quits. This is what he wrote on Truth Social. I mean, far be it for him. Let me just go to his post. Far be it from him to miss a good chance to clown and drag her. After all she's done for him. Isn't that so sad? She's gonna cry in the car, y'all. Okay. Songwriter Sunny said, does she want a Flavor of Love spinoff? I mean, she's acting like it. So he goes on to say, Marjorie Taylor Brown, because of plummeting poll numbers and not wanting to face a primary challenger with a strong Trump endorsement where she would have no chance of winning, has decided to call it quits. Her relationship with the worst Republican congressman in decades, Tom Massey of Kentucky, has also known as Rand Paul Jr., because he votes against the Republican Party and really good legislation, did not help her. For some reason, primarily that I refused to return her never-ending barrage of phone calls, Marjorie went bad. Nevertheless, I will always appreciate Marjorie and thank her for her service to our country. President DJT. Okay, y'all see that? Honey, Trump gives 0 Fs. Okay. That's it. That's all. And let me tell you all something. First of all, they subpoenaed Epstein's bank records. Okay, did you all know that? I find it interesting. They subpoenaed Epstein's bank records. Now, this is good because Chairman Comer subpoenas banks for Epstein records, seeks information for USVI Attorney General. Now, here's the reason why this is good, because we already have heard that they're scrubbing those files and whatever, removing Republicans' names and whatnot. We'll see how the files look once they come out, if they ever even do. I have questions and reservations clearly. But if they do come out and they have in fact been scrubbed, some of the scrubbing may be obvious once they compare it to Jeffrey Epstein's bank records, because I'm sure it's going to show some of the transactions that some of these nefarious people, whose names have not been mentioned as of yet, okay, what they were paying, because we know they had to be paying for something, okay, if he was a whole trafficker. So hopefully that will all come to light. So House Committee on Oversight and Government Reform Chairman James Comer today issued subpoenas to JP Morgan and Deutsche Bank of Jeffrey Epstein's Epstein's financial records. Okay, Chairman Comer is also requesting U.S. Virgin Islands Attorney General Gordon Rea provide documents to further the committee's review of the federal government's investigation of Epstein. Now, here they have the letters that they've sent to them all. The House Oversight Committee is conducting a thorough review of the federal government's investigation of Mr. Jeffrey Epstein and Ms. Ghislaine Maxwell. The committee is committed to providing accountability and transparency to the American people and the survivors of Jeffrey Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell's horrific crimes. Here's what the committee has accomplished to date. They say the Oversight Committee has released approximately 65,000 pages of documents. Now, this includes documents from the Department of Justice, the Epstein website, former U.S. Attorney General Bill Barr's deposition transcript, and former U.S. Department of Labor Secretary Alexander Acosta's transcripts. Okay, and they definitely need his transcripts because remember, Alex Acosta is the one who gave Jeffrey Epstein that sweetheart deal in the early 2000s, where he was able to leave for 12 to 13 hours a day just to say he was going to work. Okay, subpoena to the Department of Justice for Epstein-related records. Chairman James Comer issued a subpoena to the Department of Justice on August the 5th of 2025 for documents and communications in its possession, custody, or control related to Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell. The DOJ has produced roughly 33,000 pages of records to date. The committee has posted these documents on its website. They have subpoenas to the Clintons, former U.S. attorneys general, and former FBI directors. Chairman Comer issued deposition subpoenas to Bill and Hillary Clinton, James Comey, Loretta Lynch, Eric Holder, Merrick Garland, Robert Mueller, William Barr, Jeff Sessions, and Alberto Gonzalez for testimony related to horrific crimes perpetrated by Jeffrey Epstein. The committee will make deposition transcripts public. Okay, so as y'all can see, subpoena to the Epstein estate, transcribed interview with Alex Acosta, and all of their requests for Epstein-related suspicious activity reports, a subpoena to Ghislaine Maxwell. All right, this is all what they want. And I want you all to pay attention because y'all think Trump is just, loving this? Y'all think Trump is just loving this? He's not. Pam Bondi is going to redact those files and hide the Republicans' names. Honey, we already know they're going to be up to their old BS because at the end of the day, Trump has done everything that he could to delay this from all happening. First of all, resisting and framing it as a whole hoax, then publicly calling the push to release the Epstein files a whole Democratic hoax and a scam. Y'all know he said it. And then by him framing it as politically motivated, he could have contributed to slowing congressional momentum. Okay, or giving cover to his allies who were likely reluctant to release anything at all. Okay, Mike Johnson, aka Mega Mike, for example. And according to the letter from the Senate Judiciary Committee, okay, there was a huge mobilization within the FBI's records, information dissemination section. Okay, 1,000 personnel were put on 24-hour shifts, mind you, to review at least 100,000 Epstein-related records. Did y'all know that? Most people don't. Those personnel, they supposedly were instructed to flag documents that mentioned Trump. Now, I reported this to you all like months ago. Okay, that's what they were told to do, and likely by Pam Bondi, aka Bondi. Okay, so what else have they done? Well, to me, when they were told to do that, that suggests active management for which documents would or wouldn't be prioritized for the public. Like they're going to show us what they want us to see. Okay. What about Freedom of Information Act processing? I have questions. Could we get all of the information and facts then? Likely not, because it'll already be redacted beforehand. Possibly delaying or filtering materials unfavorable to Trump. That was the whole point of it all. Okay. And then, critics have argued that Trump placed people in top DOJ positions who had previously represented or defended him. Okay. And that's also the same for Lindsay Halligan. At one time, she was Trump's own personal attorney. And so that's why she got her position. Okay. Even though we know she's not qualified to hold it. And so, Todd Blanche as well, Deputy Attorney General, Emil Bove, and others were in roles that could influence document release decisions because all of these people have close ties to Trump, worked for him in some capacity in the past. So, and matter of fact, this personal law firm critique implies basically that the DOJ under Trump might be even more provocative, more protective of him. Don't y'all think? Because they don't want to piss him off. They don't want to feel like he can get trumped up charges on them, just like he's done Comey and Letitia James, clearly. And they don't want to do anything that's going to get him upset. So they're not going to be aggressively transparent. They're not going to be transparent at all unless it's something that Trump has given them permission to be transparent about, mind you. And then let's not forget how just a week or so ago, Trump had Pam Bondi open a new DOJ investigation as a pretext to withhold the documents. I told y'all that the whole reason was so they could say, oh, it's nothing to see here. We can't release this, okay, because there's an ongoing investigation. Okay, Trump thinks he's so slick. He did all of this, all of these things that he's been doing to keep the documents from coming out, all of these delay tactics. So you know darn well that he's stressed and pressed right now. Okay, and then legal experts raise concerns, that Trump's order for the new investigation, they said the same thing I said, that Trump was ordering an investigation into prominent Democrats just to justify withholding the documents. Y'all know you heard it here first. And also under the Epstein Files Transparency Act, okay, that forces the law that forces the release, there is a carve out, okay? The DOJ can withhold material if it would jeopardize an active federal investigation or ongoing prosecution. That is actually within the language of the bill. I showed it to you all the other day. I read that to you. So that's absolutely what he was aiming for. Okay, so and by declaring a new investigation, parts of the Epstein files could be legally withheld, even under the new law. Trump knows this. Okay, Bondi knows this. They all know it. Okay, they found a loophole. So, and here's the thing. Now, when Trump finally did sign the Epstein Files Transparency Act, it wasn't like we were gonna get, oh, guess what? He signed it, so now there's no more secrets. Everything's coming out because within the language of the law, it allows the DOJ to redact stuff. Okay. They can do it under the guise of protecting victims' identities or under the guise of grand jury secrecy and other sensitive information is what they can do. Okay. It doesn't have strong enough enforcement mechanisms for me. So, at least not from what they're reporting thus far, because Congress would have limited recourse if the DOJ invoked those redactions, okay, or the withholding provisions. It would only be so much that they could put out there. And Trump knows all of this. And so this basically, this just really proves that Trump is guilty. To me, this proves that he's guilty, that Trump had his hand in the cookie jar. Because why would he be going through all of this? Okay, the man's as guilty as homemade sin, and everybody should know it by now. Anyone that denies it is just in denial. Okay, you're just not that smart. And that's just my opinion. Okay, so like I said, he waited, think about it. He waited months before signing the bill that would require the release, despite his administration having the power to do it, months ago. Months ago. They made people go through this whole vote and all of this. The delay actually allowed time for an internal review, classification of decisions, and potentially damaging documents to be handled in a controlled way. So they can sift through and take out what they want, chew the fat and spit out the bones, get rid of anything they don't want us to see, anything they don't want to become public. I just really feel like that a lot of that's definitely been done. But like I said, that's why it's good that they subpoenaed Epstein's bank records, okay, from these various banks, because maybe, just maybe, that'll help us piece some of it together. Because I promise you, if these documents files do come out, I'm going to be doing a side-by-side comparison right here on this live, okay, at the end of the day. So with that all being said, let's continue, because we all know how dirty the Republicans are. Okay, we know how dirty the Republicans are and all the things that they've done. Now, but let me just tell you all something else. Trump has issued a deadline on Ukraine, honey. Okay, Trump's giving Ukraine a deadline. Let's get into it. I'm going to put it. This is a Fox News report. He issues deadline for Ukraine to accept a peace plan. This is likely going to help Putin in some way. Surely. So it definitely is going to help Ukraine. And matter of fact, it's going to make Zelensky, in my opinion, look like even more of the coward that I know that he is.
Ukraine may now face a very difficult choice, either losing its dignity or the risk of losing a key partner.
He'll have to like it, and if he doesn't like it, then, they should just keep fighting, I guess. At some point, he's going to have to accept something. He hasn't accepted. You remember right in the Oval Office not so long ago, I said, you don't have the cards. I thought he should have made a deal a year ago, 2 years ago.
President Trump sets a Thanksgiving Day deadline for Ukraine to take his offer for a peace deal that asks very little of Russia. Zelensky says it forces him to choose between dignity or U.S. allyship. Former Secretary of State Mike Pompeo joins us now. Good to see you this morning. So this seems like a big moment in this long, drawn-out war. First of all,
Zelensky said it forces him to choose between his dignity and U.S. allyship. Well, Zelensky, beloved, I'm sorry, but I don't think you have any dignity left at this point. I mean, who we're kidding here? Does he have any dignity even left after Trump did him so dirty in the White House that day and then kicked him out? Okay, I literally saw a boot print on the back of his jeans. Okay, I'm sorry. This man doesn't have any dignity left, honey. Trump already took it.
What do you think is going to happen? And if Zelensky doesn't accept this, what happens then?
Well, good morning, Charlie. It's great to be with you. Look, I think this is a big moment. We're coming up on almost 4 years after the turn of this year. And we all want peace. We want Vladimir Putin to stop his aggression, stop stealing Ukrainian children, taking them back to Russia, killing innocent civilians. That's all something we want. Look, I think this is now a negotiation. I think President Zelensky will respond in a way that is positive. He'll do his best to accommodate the things that make sense for his country, and then he'll make a good choice for Ukraine. I also think about this, Charlie, from our perspective. And any so-called peace deal that somehow limits Ukraine's ability to defend itself and defend Europe is not good for the United States of America. We shouldn't think for a second Vladimir Putin has any true interest in peace. That's been demonstrated. It happened, when President Trump went to see him in Alaska, we saw that it was a fraud in the sense that he didn't want peace. He will go right back at this again. If we limit Ukraine's ability to secure its own freedom, its own sovereignty, he will put America at risk. He'll put Europe at risk, and he will go right back at this. It will end up looking more like surrender than a true peace agreement. And that's not something I think President Trump will allow to happen, nor is it good for the United States.
So what would be a realistic alternative to the proposal that President Trump has put forward?
Well, you'll remember, Charles, just goodness, it's been a few months now. President Zelensky said ceasefire. Let's start there. He was completely prepared to do that and full-on ceasefire. Putin rejected that offer. A good outcome looks something like Ukraine with the capacity to defend itself, a European guarantee for its continued security that is real. You'll remember, Charlie, we've given Ukraine security guarantees before, and then when they invaded Crimea, Obama did nothing. When they rolled in 22, Biden did nothing. It has to be a real serious security agreement. And if we get those two things, then the agreement on where the lines get drawn ultimately gets settled as between these two, between Russia and Ukraine.
If you were to be, I know you're not a betting man, but if you were to sort of place some wager on whether or not you think Zelensky might accept this or not, what would your gut tell you at this moment?
Yeah, every now and again I do bet, Charlie. But on this, I think it's hard to know. I suspect he can't take the deal, at least the deal as we've read it in the press. I don't know all the details. I suspect there's more to it than we've seen so far. Right. I suspect he won't accept this precisely as it's written, but he'll continue to try and improve in a way that makes it better for Ukraine, better for Europe, and better for us as well.
Mike Pompeo, thank you so much for joining us, and thank you for your wisdom. I'm Steve Doocy.
I'm Brian Kilmeade.
And I'm Ainsley Earhart.
All right, so Trump gave them a time limit. We'll see how it all plays out. We'll see how Zelensky responds to it. Okay? Putin, Zelensky respond to Trump's peace plan. Oh, here we go. We're in luck. Okay, here we go right here. We have a response. This just popped up. Okay, let's get into it because I want to hear this.
President Zelensky says Ukraine is facing one of its most difficult moments in history after the U.S. proposed a new plan for peace with Russia. The 28-point plan would require sweeping concessions from Ukraine and give Russia most of its demands. But U.S. officials say it would also include security guarantees for Ukraine. Now, Zelensky says Ukraine may have to choose between its dignity or the risk of losing a key partner in the United States. ABC's Patrick Reevell has the details. Hi, Patrick. Zelensky says he spoke with Vice President Vance, and they agreed to work together to make a path to peace truly doable. So where do you see this going from here?
Hi, Dan. Yeah, Zelensky appears to be feeling pretty extreme pressure from the United States over this new framework. As you say, he spoke just in the past couple of hours with Vice President J.D. Vance, as well as the Secretary of the Army, Daniel Driscoll, who is in Kyiv right now and who presented this 28-point plan to Zelensky yesterday, although we know the Ukrainians have been aware of it for about the last month. And Zelensky just earlier also gave an extraordinary address to Ukrainians in which he vowed not to betray the country as he now goes to negotiate this framework, but said that there will be very difficult days ahead and suggested that the country may be forced to choose between its dignity and losing a key partner, in other words, the United States, which suggests that at the moment, Zelensky feels that this deal is not acceptable as it stands. As you said, it requires sweeping concessions from Ukraine. Ukraine would essentially recognize or would have to accept that all of the territory Russia holds, or most of the territory, will continue to be held by Russia. It will also have to cede territory that Russia does not yet occupy, and it would also have to accept a cap on its armed forces. Now, Zelensky, though, has also said in that same address to Ukrainians that he will work calmly and quickly with the United States to try and make this deal doable, as he then said he said with Vice President J.D. Vance. So clearly he is engaging on this deal, but I think the signals that he was giving in this speech to Ukrainians was that he is very concerned and that he believes, as many Ukrainians do, that currently, in its current form, this deal risks being a capitulation for the country, Diane.
And Zelensky spoke with British, French, and German leaders earlier. What role are they playing in these negotiations, and what are they saying about the plan?
Yeah, Diane, as you say, President Zelensky spoke earlier today by phone with the leaders of the UK, France, and Germany. It was a hastily arranged call because it's a response to this now aggressive new push by the Trump administration to try and move things forward with these negotiations. And until now, the Europeans have basically been excluded. They have not played a role in drawing up this plan, which has been largely drawn up, we understand, by Russia and the United States in the past month or so. And so the Europeans are basically trying to rally around Zelensky and make sure that their red lines and Ukraine's red lines are not breached. It's interesting, in the readout from that call, the Europeans paid a special attention to 2 points. One, they said that any negotiation must take the line of contact as the starting point for discussions, meaning seeming to mean that they are not enthusiastic about the idea of Ukraine giving up unoccupied territory to Russia. And they also said that Ukraine's military must be kept in a state to be able to defend its sovereignty, which again seems to suggest they are concerned about the idea of caps being put on Ukraine's military. But what we are seeing here, I think, is the most dramatic effort by the Trump administration to end this war in months. And I think this is going to continue to escalate. And as President Zelensky said, the days ahead will be dramatic, Diane.
And Zelensky's warning of difficult days ahead, what are the next steps for him here?
So, as we've seen, there is now a flurry of diplomatic activity. He spoke with J.D. Vance today. The fact that he spoke with Vance is interesting. We know, of course, that the vice president has been a very vocal and long-time skeptic of aid to Ukraine. We also know that the Army Secretary, Daniel Driscoll, is an old college friend of J.D. Vance. So it's interesting that he is now playing a role in these negotiations. I think Zelensky clearly believes he needs to engage with this plan. And I think what's interesting is that there are elements of it that suggest that Russia has made some slight moderations of its demands, and perhaps we are closer to what could be the building blocks of a potential deal. But I think also, if the Trump administration is pushing hard enough, we could also see a crisis in relations between the United States and Ukraine in the coming days, Diane.
ABC's Patrick Reevell, thank you.
Okay, so you all heard that. You all heard that. At the end of the day, Trump's ready for it to be over. Okay. We'll see how this all pans out. So with that all being said, let's go to this man, because honey, this man is mad as hell. You know, when these people who don't look like me start talking about America first, they're very serious. Okay, they're very serious, and they get mad if they feel like anybody or any country is trying to get attention, or anybody from another country is trying to, big up their country while they're in America, they're not having it. This man went all in because he said there was an Israeli who walked through the Capitol trying to tell Americans what they need to be doing. And he was not there for any of it. And he had a whole lot to say. Okay? Which I find interesting. So let's get into it. Likes up, everyone, please. Like and share. Thank you in advance. Okay, here we go.
Can you tell me what world do we live in where this Israeli guy comes to the United States, goes to our capital to lecture us Americans about what we should do in the United States? He goes to Rashida Tlaib's office, a member of Congress who swore an oath to the United States, who displays a Palestinian flag, which is fine. But please explain to Americans why a foreign flag gets front row treatment while the people in your own district can barely pay rent or feel safe walking outside. And we got this Israeli guy, this bozo, Yusuf Hadid. You're a guest in our country. You do not get to walk into our political system as a guest and tell us Americans how to run our country, America. Look, guys, that's not left or right. That's just sovereignty. Every nation on earth understands this except us, okay? If you're Israel first, get the fuck out of our country. I'm America first. And America first means exactly that. No foreign governments, no foreign influencers, no foreign pressure running our politics. No Qatar, no Israel. Not anyone. And to my Jewish community, speaking up about foreign interference is not anti-Semitism. You sound like a bunch of Karens. It's patriotism. America is our home. Protecting our home is how we stop hate, not how we create it. And I'm a Middle Eastern Jewish man with family history in both Jerusalem and Iran, and I say this. Wake up. Gen Z hates this. If anyone puts another nation's interest above the United States, they don't belong anywhere near American politics. This country belongs to its citizens, period. If you're not America first, get the fuck out of here.
Okay, y'all heard that, honey. That man is mad. Do y'all hear him? Honey, he was going hard in the paint. How dare you? Okay? How dare you? I find it all so nefarious, don't y'all? Deanna said, tell that to Donald. Wow. Okay, so with that all being said, let's continue because we have one more story to get into. Actually, two. Okay, actually, two. Hold on, beloveds. Let me pull this up. All right, so let's get into it, and then we're almost out of here. Okay, I see Cherokee's descendant Dale has joined the chat talking about OCO. Not talking Cherokee in my chat, honey. Not talking Cherokee in the Queen's chat. Cherokee descendant Dale. Y'all check him out. Okay, I'm here for it. Tahoku. All right, Tahoku to you, beloved. That means I'm well for those of you who don't speak Cherokee. Okay, but so anyway, let's continue with because this is what I found interesting, you all. This is what I found interesting. Okay, so this man in Georgia by the name of Buddy Carter looks like he's a whole racist. Look at that jacket. I'm sorry. Look at
When you're hurt in an accident, results matter. At Sweet James, our attorneys have participated in over 500 trials.
How did this even get on here? Okay, so now here's the thing. We're going to get into it because Mr. Buddy Carter wants them to bring ICE. He wants them to bring ICE agents to Atlanta. Okay, and we're not here for it. And neither is the mayor. Okay, neither is the mayor of Atlanta, Mr. Andre Dickens. So let's talk about it, because I know the Cherokee descendant Dale said, yes, Queen, love you and the family. And I love you right, Black beloved. Okay, thank you for your kind words. Okay, so now let's get into it, because, honey, I'm sorry. Don't bring ICE down here messing with us. Don't have the feds walking through downtown. The Queen doesn't have time for it. Okay?
Responding tonight to calls from Republican Congressman Buddy Carter to bring more federal officers to the city. In a letter to the Department of Homeland Security and U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement, Carter writes, quote, rising levels of illegal immigrants and increasing threats to public safety in Georgia highlight the urgent need for an enhanced ICE presence in Atlanta. He cites a report from the Migration Policy Institute that says the number of undocumented immigrants living in Georgia has grown to nearly 500,000, one of the highest populations in the country. The office of Mayor Andre Dickens responding to that letter by sharing some numbers that show crime in Atlanta is dropping. This year, homicides are down 27%, shootings down 19%, and motor vehicle thefts are down 41%. The mayor's office responding, saying in a statement, year after year, crime has gone down in the city of Atlanta thanks to APD, Atlanta Fire and Rescue, and EMS by making investments that address the root cause of crime and through strong partnerships with the governor, state, and regional partners. Carter's letter comes as he tries to break through a field of Republican primary candidates looking to take on U.S. Senator Jon Ossoff. Well, so far, President Donald Trump has not made an endorsement in this race.
Okay, he's trying to get an endorsement for Donald Trump, honey. He's out here being nefarious because he wants to get an endorsement from Trump. Okay, he needs to sit down somewhere. Honey, we don't have time for it. Don't bring them down here to Atlanta, honey. Okay? Don't come down here with all that. Us AT aliens ain't got time for it. This I am from the UK says, Queen, you're enjoying the wiggetry nonsense a lot. Lot. I'm enjoying it a lot, beloved. Yeah, I actually am. Thanks for noticing. Okay, same here in my broken down van. So nefarious, and I'm here for it. Not your broken down van, beloved. Okay, yeah, I'm enjoying it just a little too much, right? But it's the nerve of it all for me, because this man is trying to use Atlanta, honey, the streets of, to get in Trump's good graces and garner himself an endorsement. Honey, we're not having any of it, okay? The mayor already spoke. Crime is down in Atlanta, okay? Don't come down here with all that BS. And then the mayor even quoted numbers regarding the level that it has gone down, that crime has subsided. Meanwhile, Buddy Carter is sitting here talking about the rising levels of undocumented migrants, and then had the nerve to produce a migration policy, a document from the Migration Policy Institute. The report includes estimated growth numbers from 2019 to 2023. Man, we're in 2025 regarding undocumented migrants in states around the U.S. He said, here's what he said, you all listen. Carter, a Republican who represents Georgia's 1st District, called for increased ICE and DHS resources to address what he labeled as safety concerns in Georgia's capital city, saying residents are clamoring for additional federal support, which would greatly assist state and local partners in maintaining safety, public safety, and ensuring that immigration laws are properly upheld. This is what he said in the letter. He wrote a letter to the DHS. Here's the thing. If Georgia wants ICE coming down here, I would think that Governor Kemp, with his nefarious self, okay, that he would ask for it. Hold on. I would think that he'd be the one asking for it, not this nefarious man. But you know what? Let me check and see, because he probably did ask, knowing him. He's a whole Republican, clearly one of the grand old party members. Okay, yep, he sure did. Governor Kemp has asked Georgia National Guard to assist U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement, i.e. ICE, by deploying approximately 75 members to provide administrative and logistic support. He has also directed the deployment of National Guard troops for other purposes, such as assisting in a public safety mission in Washington, D.C. in September of 2025 and to quell protests in Atlanta in 2023. Oh, that's in the past, honey. We're talking about now. Okay, he announced in Georgia that Georgia National Guard would deploy about 75 members to provide administrative and logistical support to make ICE arrests. He said that in August of 2025. Then in September, he approved sending about 300 Georgia National Guard soldiers and 16 support staff to Washington, D.C. to assist in the public safety mission. Yeah, he mobilized National Guards to assist ICE. Okay. And I reported on that back in August too. Honey, I report on so much stuff I can't keep track of it all. But yeah, he absolutely did do that back in August. Okay. So anyway, with that all being said, by deploying more federal officers, DHS and ICE would improve or would provide crucial support to local and state partners, increasing enforcement presence. This would also help to deter unlawful entry, disrupt legal networks, and uphold the rule of law. Now, they reached out to the mayor's office, of course, and the mayor told them to basically crime is down. Okay, he doesn't see any need for it. But of course, they're not going to listen to him. Okay? Adrian said Trump doesn't like him. No, he actually doesn't. But we'll see if he sends those troops down here, because I hope he doesn't. We don't need it. Okay, we don't have a lot of crime going on down here. Okay, actually we do. We have a whole lot of it, in fact. Okay. So with that all being said, now let's talk about this man who dragged a woman off of the sidewalk. Okay, this was in Van Nuys Heights, Minnesota. This man dragged her off of the sidewalk, and Essie actually assaulted her because she was a virgin, according to sheriff's office. What a low down dirty devil. Okay, what a low down dirty devil. Now look at this. This is the culprit right here. He's clearly he's clearly one of these men, you know, who just can't get a woman. That's what I think. That's what I think. Okay? One of those incels. One of those incels. That's likely what he is. That's what he looks like anyway. But anyway, let's continue. So he grabbed this poor woman off of the sidewalk, snatched her up, no less. Okay, KTSP reported the suspect had stalked the woman who was walking on Centerville Road while talking to a friend through her phone, okay, while wearing earphones or headphones. And as she walked, Liritz, that's his name, reportedly came up behind her and pushed her down to the ground. Now, the victim reportedly told authorities that Liritz was much larger than her and used his hand to cover her mouth, telling her not to scream. See, ladies, this is why you need to carry something to protect yourselves. If you're afraid of guns or you don't have a firearm, carry you some mace, pepper spray, get you a knife, carry you something to protect yourself and know how to use it and what to do. Because if somebody runs up behind me, okay, somebody runs up behind me, you're going to get stuck like a pig, okay? You run up behind me and grab me and put me in fear of my life, yeah, I'm going to stab you right in your neck. I'm going to reach back behind me, okay? So don't try it, okay? Because these people are out here kidnapping. There's a whole lot of trafficking going on. You never know. Ladies, it's not safe. You need to protect yourself at all costs. I don't condone violence unless you're protecting yourself or someone else. But let's continue. Now, with that all being said, goes on to say she attempted to get attention from those driving passing cars, but no one even bothered to stop. Okay, the victim said she yelled out to her on her phone to try to get her friend to call 911. And according to the complaint, she said the attacker overpowered her, restricted her breathing, and then R-worded her. Now, with the help of the DNA evidence, the Ramsey County Sheriff's Office said they determined Liritz was the suspect and arrested him at his home in White Bear Township. Oh, he thought he got away with it. Good thing she got one of those test kits. Now, in an interview with authorities, he reportedly admitted to assaulting the woman and said he did so because he was a virgin. Oh, I'm sorry. I misread the headline. I thought she was. Yeah, he dragged woman off the sidewalk and assaulted her because he was a virgin. Oh, honey, he's definitely an incel. Okay, for those of you who don't know what that is, that's these lame duck men out here who can't get a woman. Okay, they're heterosexual and they define themselves as unable to find a romantic or asexual partner. Okay, even though they want one, they can't find one. Okay, try a blow up doll, why don't you? Okay, try a blow up doll next time. Honey, this is all ghastly. So, anyway, he told them that he was a virgin. The sheriff's office also said the victim was able to provide them with a detailed description of her attacker. He's currently being held in the Ramsey County Jail awaiting charges. What a fool. Sir, you're going to jail for R-wording someone. And you were a virgin, and that's the first way you want to get it is to take it from somebody. Now you're gonna be in jail, and now you're not a virgin anymore. But guess what? Ain't gonna be a virgin anymore, sir. Your back door. Your back door is not going to be a virgin anymore, sir, when you get to jail. Whew, this is all sad. Do y'all hear this? Is anyone besides me beyond shocked? Okay, this is all crazy. This is all crazy, y'all. Anywho, what in the hell did we just read, right? So, songwriter Sonny said involuntary celibacy. Not celibacy. Instead of celibacy, it's celibacy. Am through. Okay, Mel said, not a blow up doll, Queen. I'm floored. Honey, he should have been floored by that blow up doll. Then he wouldn't be in jail without no bail, honey, waiting for court. Make it all make sense, honey. But these devils, they just do whatever. They don't even think before they make these crazy decisions. No less. This is crazy. What's really going on here? Anywho, so with that all been said, beloveds, listen. Y'all know I'm about to be out of here. Okay, I'm about to be out of here. I was going to tell y'all one more story, but I'm just going to save it for later. But what I will do is listen, I want to show you all this video before I go. It's like a 4 or 5 minute video. I actually saw this. I actually saw this as soon as I got on TikTok this morning. Hold on. Songwriter Sunny said, did she not have any more night and weekend minutes to call 911 herself? Well, here's the thing. She was on the phone with her friend, so I mean, she could have hung up and called, but then I don't know, honey. I guess she felt like it was best to tell her friend to do it since her friend was actively on the phone. Because what if he snatched the phone out of her hand and prohibited her from dialing another number? So that was probably the smartest thing to do under the circumstances, Songwriter Sunny. Okay, if I had to guess. Now, with that all being said, let's go to this video. This is absolutely appalling. It happened here in Atlanta. Okay, this happened to a Clark University student. She was assaulted and attacked by this young man who couldn't control his temper. And I'm going to let her tell the story, but it was also stupid. Now, mind you, I did, because I don't want any problems with copyright, or not copyright, with the violence or whatever that he inflicted on her. So I did block that part out. I edited that part out. But you'll be able to know what he was doing.
Hey, hello, my name is Caleb Bryant, and I was just attacked outside of my building in Atlanta. I go to Clark Atlanta University.
Oh, I should do it to you, right? Stop. What nigga you got? What nigga you got over here? What nigga you got over here? I should do it to you, right? I should do it to you, right? I should kill you, right? Let her go. I'm not the one. I'm not the fucking one. Me and your mom is not the one. I know.
You had him assault me? Right.
Yeah. No. Who 12? Who 12? Who 12? Who 12? Who 12? I bet you got it. Who 12? 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 I promise you I get the body. Who 12? Who 12? Who 12? What do you mean that? What do you mean that? What do you mean that? I promise you I'll get a body today. What do you mean that? What do you mean? What do you mean that? What do you mean that? What happened? Friday, pussy, Friday, or what? Or what?
We have a shuttle that transports us from our campus to my apartment, and I get on that because I can't drive nor can I see. So when I was getting on the shuttle today, I sit in the back room like I normally do, and a couple walks on, and they sit in the chairs in front of me, and they start kissing and stuff. So I move over to another seat, and I'm listening to music. And as we get off the shuttle, the man starts stepping on me, and this is my feet size. Okay, that doesn't matter. My feet size. I wear a 6.5. So he steps on me, and I say, excuse me, can you apologize? Can you say sorry? And he didn't say anything. So as I'm walking off the shuttle, his girlfriend is standing there, and she's like, is there a problem? And I was like, yes, he just stood on me. Like, he stepped on me. She was like, ew, you all up in my face. Ew, you're arresting, you all up in my face. I'm like, bitch, he just stepped on me. Oh my God, your boyfriend. She mushes me on my face, and I like try to swing for her back, and she's like, you got it, babe. And he starts choking me like this onto the ground, and me and her fall onto the ground, and I'm not letting go, because like, what the fuck is happening to me at the moment? Like, he's choking me, and you are like, I don't know what's going on. He picks me up off the ground and starts strangling me like this, and I couldn't breathe, and I was kicking off the walls and stuff to try to gain some sort of like balance. And he's telling me he's gonna kill me, and he's like, you want that? I'll kill you, all of that. Like, and telling me, go find your boyfriend, and I'm in Atlanta by myself because I'm just trying to go to school and go to work, that's all. I don't have a boyfriend, I had two. I only had two boyfriends. So I was just attacked. And the police are trying to look for them. I don't know what to do. Then I put in like videos, they like scratched up my face, and then there's like bruises on my knee. But yes, my name is Kayla Bryant, and I was just attacked. I go to Clark Atlanta University, and yeah.
Okay, that is so sad. That poor baby. Okay, and the girlfriend sitting there defending him. Now, Nessa G says, I guarantee you he's beating his girlfriend as well, OMG. Of course he is. He's someone who definitely can't control his temper, and he is absolutely doing the same to her, yoking her up and all of that, and she's a fool sitting there defending him while he's putting hands on this young lady. And he was, in fact, defending her, and the girlfriend sitting there telling me, you got it, babe. Okay, what? That's crazy, but he didn't do anything to that young man. Okay, he didn't do anything to that young man. He just told him, don't do that. But putting his hands on her, then talking about call 12. I bet you I'll catch a body today. Making threats. Somebody's going to recognize him from that footage, and he's going to jail where he belongs. People like that don't need to walk the streets because they're ticking time bombs. Anyone who can't control their actions and their temper, you don't need to be walking around normal people because you're, in fact, not normal. There is something mentally wrong with you, and you need to be taken off of the streets for your safety and everyone else's. Okay, so anyway, with that all being said, I'm going to conclude this broadcast. I want to thank you all for tuning in. Please like and share. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. Be sure to click that notification bell and click the word all so you're notified each time the Queen Goddess goes live. Now, I won't be back today. I don't think so, unless there is some breaking news that I have to get out. But other than that, I will see you all tomorrow. Don't forget that tomorrow is Sunday, so we'll be doing True Crime Sundays for those who have memberships to the channel, and also a regular broadcast, okay? So I love you all to life. Enjoy your strong end of the weekend, all right? And with that all been said, each one teach one. That's how we grow and thrive. Do something productive, constructive, but never destructive. And always remember, beloveds, to keep the Most High first in your lives. Peace.
Yo, Nick, hit him with that flavor. Soul all in my skin, God all in my blood.
Kings all in my circle, you touch one of mine and you're done. They show no love for the queen, why you hating on me? Is it cause I'm free and I got Malcolm X in my jeans? I got dreams like King Luther, shed blood like Kunta. You ain't helping my people, I ain't got nothing to say to ya. I want all the smoke like hookah. Talking reparations, America won't be great until they give us compensation. I'm like, I'm the hottest right now. See a bunch of lames out here trying to jock on my style. They be doing too much. I'm the queen, it's too easy. It's like they all at Popeyes, how they be talking so greasy. I just sit back and laugh while these haters get madder. So nefarious how they don't want my pockets with cheddar. I tell them they can do better. These snakes in the grass can leave a bite on your ass, cause y'all be trusting too fast. I got my foot on the gas, other one on they necks. Dropping receipts on haters, you better show some respect. I'm never facing regrets, we only facing the threats. Running through every challenge like a relay, break no sweat. It's a cold game, so I got that blanket with me. Now that my people awaken, ain't no going to sleep. I do not play by my piece, this time I'm playing for keeps. You talking slick, but when I see you like them ends, we gon' meet. And I got gold all in my skin, God all in my blood. Kings all in my circle, you touch one of mine and you done. They show no love for the queen, why they hating on me? Is it cause I'm free and I got Malcolm X in my jeans and I got gold all in my skin, God all in my blood. Kings all in my circle, you touch one of mine and you done. They show no love for the queen, why they hating on me? Is it cause I'm free and I got Malcolm X in my jeans and I got